Good morning to many familiar faces, to many unfamiliar faces who are friends. Dear ladies of your beautiful community, Crown Heights, I arrived here during Chol Hamoed Pesach to await the birth of a new grandson to be born to Simi and Shua Polonsky. The simcha for us is that we have brought into the world a beautiful new neshama, someone to lighten our load, gladden our hearts, and give us hope. And he indeed does that. May he be gebenched with Arichas Yomim Shalom Tovos. The terrible tragedy is that he is named Yoshua Rafal, then Yoshua Rafal. It's extremely difficult to watch our daughter Simi's pain as the mixed emotions surge and continue to do so. Our Shua was so perfect, and the more stories we hear, the more we learn of the tremendous impact he had on the world and everyone who he touched. We arrived here as a family from afar. My mother-in-law made the trip from Eretz Yisrael with my sister-in-law. My brother flew in from Miami, and many of us flew in from Australia to hold Simi's hand and to rally around her as a family, and we were welcomed by all of you, a bigger family, this beautiful community of Crown Heights. And we are really trying our best to live with the motto created by the generous community of the world, Shua Strong. You know, it's interesting, as I stood at our baby's breast and I heard the familiar words that we all know and hear on every Seder night and every bris, it actually really sadly, it was a profound clarity that I had never had before, and it really took on the meaning. With your blood do we compromise life. With life there is suffering. We know when we speak about the Mesiras Nefesh of Am Yisrael through every generation, and we still talk about, and every generation has been faced with its challenges, its sorrows, its pain and suffering. And we still proclaim with steadfast pride and unyielding emunah and b'tochen that we will fight to choose life. There are sadly many in this room who have had and have their own nisyonos. And we all, in our own way, say, B'domayich chayi, with life there is suffering. May Hashem grant all of us the strength and b'tochen to give life to each of our families. I believe this sentiment, then, B'domayich chayi, allows us to understand why is there a repetition of the mitzvah of Bris Milah. The first one is obvious. We learn about Bris Milah through Avraham Avinu. And the second time we learn about the mitzvah of Bris Milah in Parshas Tazria Mitzora. The Gemara asks the question, why are we repeating the mitzvah? So the second reference to Bris Milah occurs after Har Sinai. So the Gemara calls this the legislative mitzvah, incumbent upon each and every one of us after Har Sinai. However, the Gemara says the legislative mitzvah alone would never have been enough to convey to us what it means, the deep passion and connection that we have to have between us and Hashem and His pact. Without the reference to Avraham Avinu, we would never have understood that connecting to Hashem is through both good times and challenging times. The legislative mitzvah would never have conveyed the unyielding Mesiras Nefesh, the passion and deep commitment of a bris. Avraham Avinu at age 99 taught us what it means, B'domayich chayi, with life there is suffering. No land is an island, and it takes a village to raise a child. Yes, these are cliches that we have heard all too often when referencing a social group. And the realization that people just cannot go it alone. And so, my dear friends, on behalf of the Gestetner, Polonsky, close and extended families, I am here as their representative to express our deep, immense gratitude, appreciation, and overflowing hakaras hatov to this community and to the wonderful organisation of Bikur Cholim for all your boundless goodness and kindness that has been extended to our family over the past 6 months. From here in Crown Heights and from around the world, you have rallied by us, you stood by us, you dined with us. Your tefillas, your mitzvahs and your tzedakah and shua's merit were overwhelming. May all the zchus of your deeds travel with shua's holy neshama and olam hairness. To say that we have been completely overwhelmed by your kindness is an understatement. We are so humbled by your chesed orchi, the way you stretched out your hands and your hearts towards our family. You have literally carried us and sustained us and comforted us in our darkest of days. Your love, your tefillas, your tzedakah, your challah, your rallies, your tillim groups, your good wishes from near and far, and your food that was on constant tap has literally nourished us emotionally, physically, and spiritually. You remind me of the Anoni HaKavod. You enveloped us with your love. You physically travelled with us and took us to the hospital backwards and forwards on a daily basis. You brought toys for the children, and well thought out care packages would arrive daily. Your generous meals would arrive to the hospital, sometimes 3 times a day, to feed more than Kanana Hora 3 million of us. As well as meals to Simi's house in case she arrived home hungry, and meals to her sister's house who was caring for her in the hospital, and babysitters so that all immediate family children could be supported so we could be with Simi. Every meal that arrived was beautifully packaged, every detail was carefully considered. You gave with dignity and graciousness. We will always be grateful, and you brought us light in difficult times. I come from a small little community in Sydney who has their own little essential component of a Bikur Cholim, but I think that the magnitude of what you do here is a shining example. Not only did you offer us practical advice, but the head of Bikur Cholim was able to connect us with Dr. Ara Wise, the Rebbe's doctor. Dr. Ara Wise was Simi's lifeline during very difficult days and weeks. Dr. Ara Wise would call Simi every day or twice a day, literally as we just come out of an appointment with the doctor or a meeting with the medical team. Dr. Ara Wise was there as the Rebbe's shliach to hold Simi's hand, to give her words of chizuk, to give her another option, and thank you for connecting us. And I would now like to just finally applaud the tremendous and acknowledge the assistance from Bikur Cholim, and to each and every one of you who volunteer. You give your hearts selflessly, and as I said before, your support is so practical, so generous and overflowing. I don't know you all by name, but I do know that Gittel Hershowitz, a friend of ours from Sydney, is part responsible for the team, so Gittel, please pass on to all your team. Our unbelievable Hakara Satov. Sadly, our family has been a recipient of your benevolence not so long ago. When my beautiful sister-in-law, Rebbetzin Rivki Baba, on her Shalom, was ill. I know how appreciative our family was then, and we are still. You have an outstanding community here in Crown Heights, and we are in awe of your magnificence. Chesed is your crowning glory. As parents, we live far away in Australia, Cleveland and Miami, and we carry with us much anguish and pain as we leave here. But we are comforted in the knowledge that you carry Simi and her children in your hands and in your hearts. The minhag is to offer the blessing of Hamakom Minachem Eschem after a Ketira. Whilst Hamakom is always referred to as Hashem, allow me the indulgence to say that we have been the recipients of blessings of this Makom. All of us have been strengthened by the Makom of Crown Heights, and indeed the Makom of the entire Jewish world. Mi Ka'amcha Yisrael. Honestly, our emunah, bitochen, and faith have been fortified from your makom so much, and has been a home for sitting in Shua for the last 7 years. We are humbled by your home, your neighbourhood, and this place called Crown Heights. You have crowned us with many measures of comfort and friendship. Thank you. As Yidden, we all daven towards Yerushalayim. It's our focal point. It's where we direct our thoughts and fill us to. It's where we receive strength. And as Chabad Hasidim, living in satellite communities around the world, we have always focused our thoughts, as well as Yerushalayim, to Crown Heights. Many of you have families across the seas, as I have daughters here in Crown Heights of the famous Croc NYC fame. In fact, Crown Heights was my first home when I was married. I lived across the road in 706, and I was zoche every single day, probably not then realizing the magnitude of what I saw. Every day as I peered out from my window in 706, I would see the Rebbe walk from his home down Brooklyn Avenue and across to 770. And I think the comforting reassurance of the Rebbe's regular, rhythmic, predictable walk has given me and our families in Shluchim far away much measure of strength and koyach through our challenging times. We as Shluchim have always received much chayas here from Crown Heights, and you are renowned worldwide for your Chnossos Orachim, and sadly now I have known of your amazing Bikur Cholim. May Hashem repay you all with brachos of hatzlacha and good tidings to your personal requests, and may we merit that the neighborhood Crown Heights be transported speedily to Yerushalayim, and may we zoche to the Gula, Shlema b'meherav yameinu mamish. And today on Pesach Sheni, may we demand from Hashem. It's our second chant, but Hashem, please, we demand Mashiach Tzidkenu now. Thank you. May our Yeshua fall, a lady Ben Hershel be a good debater for his family and indeed for Kol Yisrael. Thank you.